Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. Okay, the good, the bad, the ugly. What's up this week?
This is the ugly.
Okay, what do you got?
Good.
Okay.
The Leafs.
Oh yeah.
They are off to their best road trip record to start the season in 72 years, since 1940-41. I think it's 7-2 and something like that, or 7-0. Unbelievable. When I watch the Leafs, I like watching them. They're a good team. And I think it's more surprising to say that because of how bad they've been year after year after year, where we just kind of snicker and cast them aside. It's only the off-ice antics of the Leafs we talk about over the years. So I have to say right now, the Leafs.
They're tough. They're playing, you know, they're playing some tough hockey. They're getting some decent goaltending.
Decent goaltending by a guy named Scrivens.
Yeah.
I mean, and before that, James Reimer, former Red Deer guy. So, yeah. I mean, I think that's the good going on in the NHL right now.
So thank Christ the Toronto media will be happy, and it is the center of the universe right now, as far as they're concerned.
But you're good, Mike.
Well, I'm just listening to you. I haven't had much good. I said more of my good about that Flames fourth line. I love the way they're playing. Steve Eugene is playing.
But it's easy to be good on a fourth line. There's no pressure. Just go out there, you play your
hammer everybody
6, 7, 8 minutes a game and hammer. So yes, I agree with you, but it's
Okay, what's the bad for you?
I'm going to repeat myself from earlier in this week. Jerome Iginla continues to be an average player. And you're not an average player. You've proven that. Your salary says you're not an average player. So Jerome, what's wrong with you? We feel your pain, but you're not getting the job done. It's the bad, in my opinion, this week.
You feel for the guy.
You do.
You want him to do well. You want to see the Flames do well. It's more fun when the Flames are actually in the playoffs, when they're winning. It's exciting. It's exciting for the whole town. You go back to 2004, you want to see that. You want to. Some of the most vivid memories I've had as an announcer and a reporter is covering the Flames when they've won. Like coming back after that game in '86 when they finally defeated the Edmonton Oilers. Boy, that was like coming home to the Beatles. Really, it was just the city was supercharged, Grant. They have never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. I'd love to see that kind of passion back in this town.
You know what? When we say this about Jerome, and I talked to somebody around the Flames organization who's been there almost since day one, and he says, you know what we expect from Jerome right now? He's not capable of doing it. He's not a guy that lifts himself up.
Unless there is something underneath, an underlying current.
In the short term.
Yeah.
But he's never been a guy to do it by himself. He needs a co-host. He needs a strong guy beside him. He's proven that. That's the way he is in life. That's the way he is on the ice. And this is somebody who's followed Jerome, who knows Jerome better than you or I. And it's so true, Mike. In '04, when he was at his best with the Flames going to the Stanley Cup final, Craig Conroy was saying, come on, Jerome, I'll be the guy. But be there and kick ass. He needs that. It's too bad. Oh, man, I repeat myself too much. It's too bad in '03. Daryl Sutter didn't go after Ryan Getzlaf in the draft instead of Dion Phaneuf. If Ryan Getzlaf was the Flames' #1 centerman, I'd say, Jerome Iginla, we're not having this discussion. That's what the Flames need. So I guess what I'm saying is that Jerome's my bad, get it going, but it might be unrealistic with the lineup they have and the personnel they have for Jerome to do.
That hits home,
Does that make
Grant.
sense?
Yeah, it does. It really hits home for me because as a sports announcer, by myself, I thought I was average. But you put me with Ewert Toth, and I thought I was the best.
And you're a little bit above average.
I was way above average. I thought I was the best, but that's just it.
No, it's true.
It is. Some people need that support. Some people love feeding off of people.
To use your sportscaster analogy,
yes,
Ron MacLean probably wouldn't be like that. Ron MacLean could probably sit here and just dominate. Guys like you and I, we like to have somebody beside us to lead and take you in a different direction and jump on board.
Bring out the personality.
As a hockey player, Doug Gilmour didn't need that. Claude Giroux doesn't need that. Sidney Crosby doesn't need that. But some athletes do. So we're asking Jerome to get off his ass and get going, it might be something with that personnel unattainable.
Sure. What's the ugly? I know where you're going with this one, and it's
the ugly
it's on the crime
is
sheet.
Oscar Pistorius. There's so many areas you can go on this story, but he's my ugly for allegedly gunning down his beautiful girlfriend 4 times in their house for allegedly, so we don't want to get sued here, thinking that she was an intruder in the house. That,
Wow.
the whole story, and again, I don't know where you want to go with that if you want to go any further. There's so many little areas we could go. That is the ugliest thing in sport. And it kind of brings back who we admire in sports now and why. Lance Armstrong, you know, he's turned ugly. O.J. Simpson. So do we admire these guys for their athletic abilities and how they maybe inspired a young football player, a young cyclist, or a young track and field guy who has maybe disabled? Or do we now look at them and saying, disgusting?
Well, that's it.
I don't
Grant.
know.
Just because they're superstars doesn't. Let's not forget the one element that a lot of people will forget about, that they're human beings. Not that, make an excuse for these. I'm just drawing another. Mindy McCready was a country and western star from a few years back. Beautiful girl, beautiful looking girl, talented girl. Drugs, alcohol. Committed suicide over the weekend. Depression, always in, DUIs, always, on the crime page. So you just don't know what's bothering somebody and what's going to cause them to snap.
But you had, okay, so if I'm a young aspiring singer, I look at the McCready's and I don't want to be like her.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, but the Blade Runner, Oscar Pistorius, not too long ago at the London Olympics, the first disabled athlete to compete with able-bodied athletes.
Yeah.
That has to be inspiring to some young kid who has lost a limb.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does a young kid still say, oh, I don't know, it's scary who we admire. But then you and I, when we were kids, Mickey Mantle, he was drinking, and it goes back, even actors. You're right. So I don't know where we go with it, but I'm just saying that to me is the ugliest thing that I've heard in
for a long time. Yep.
And the fact that she was gorgeous, it was, no.